I stood there in my simple navy blue dress while my mother-in-law's eyes burned into me with unmistakable disgust. "You don't belong here," she whispered sharply, at her own son's wedding reception. Her words were meant to humiliate me, to shrink me, to remind me of what she believed was my place. But what she didn't know, what she couldn't have imagined, was that the woman she was trying so desperately to shame owned the very mansion we were standing in. Before I tell you how that night unfolded into the most satisfying moment of my life, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because stories like this, stories of quiet strength, justice, and karma, deserve to be heard. And trust me, the twist at the end will leave you absolutely speechless. My name is Angela, and this happened 3 months ago at my sister-in-law's wedding. I've been married to my husband, Benjamin, for 3 years. He's a good man, kind, patient, deeply principled. He teaches history at a local high school and genuinely believes in shaping young minds. We met in the most ordinary way possible, a coffee shop. I was sitting in the corner, laptop open, juggling code and investor emails while sipping a cheap latte. Benjamin struck up a conversation, joking about freelancers stealing Wi-Fi. He assumed I was just another struggling creative trying to make it. I didn't correct him. Because I liked that he saw me, not numbers, not status, not money. What Benjamin didn't realize at the time was that I was in the early stages of building what would later become a highly successful tech company. I taught myself to code in a tiny studio apartment, working late nights fueled by instant noodles and ambition. My software streamlined inventory management for small businesses, something no one had done effectively before. When it launched, it exploded. Within 2 years, my company was valued in the millions. But I stayed the same. I drove a modest car, shopped at regular stores, wore simple clothes. I didn't believe wealth needed to announce itself. I believed money should work quietly in the background, not define who you are. Benjamin knew I was successful, of course. But even he didn't know the full scope of it. And his family, they knew nothing. Especially his mother, Diane. From the moment she met me, Diane decided I was wrong for her son. Not because of anything I'd done, but because of who she thought I was. It started subtly. Comments about my hair, my clothes, my tone. She'd say things like, "Oh, Benjamin usually dated such refined girls," or "We come from a certain kind of background." When Benjamin wasn't around, the comments became sharper. She questioned my education, my upbringing. She made remarks about my skin color that she thought were clever enough to deny. Benjamin brushed it off when I told him. "She's just old-fashioned," he said. "She'll warm up to you." But I knew better. Diane didn't want to warm up to me. She wanted me gone. So when Benjamin's sister Jessica announced her engagement, I knew the wedding wouldn't just be a celebration, it would be a test. Diane's chance to show everyone what a proper family event looked like, with me standing there as the obvious outsider. The wedding was held at Rosewood Country Club, an old money estate with marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and a reputation for exclusivity. Benjamin was excited. His family had dreamed of hosting an event there for years. What he didn't know, what no one knew, was that I had quietly purchased Rosewood 8 months earlier through one of my holding companies. Not just the venue, the catering company, the florist, and several surrounding properties. I planned to surprise Benjamin later. Maybe suggest hosting our anniversary there. I never imagined it would become the stage for the biggest confrontation of my life. On the day of the wedding, I chose my outfit carefully. Elegant, but understated. No designer logos. Just a simple navy dress and pearl earrings that once belonged to my grandmother. Benjamin told me I looked perfect. Diane, of course, found fault immediately. The ceremony itself was beautiful. Flowers everywhere. A string quartet. Jessica looked radiant. Benjamin squeezed my hand during the vows, and for a brief moment, I believed, maybe tonight would be peaceful. I was wrong. At the reception, whispers followed me. Conversations stopped when I approached. Smiles turned stiff. I caught fragments of sentences, He could have done better. She's not from our circle. What was he thinking? Benjamin was busy with best man duties. I didn't want to burden him, so I smiled through it. Until Diane cornered me near the champagne fountain. That dress is simple, she said, scanning me like an insult. I suppose not everyone understands sophistication. Then she leaned in, lowering her voice. This family has standards, reputation, and frankly, dear, you're embarrassing us. I kept my composure, asked calmly what she wanted. Her answer was cruel and clear. You should leave. She raised her voice just enough for others to hear. Conversations stopped. Heads turned. Benjamin rushed over. Diane played the victim perfectly, accusing me of causing a scene. Then she gave him an ultimatum. Her, or me. I saw the pain in Benjamin's eyes. And that's when I decided I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't beg. I stepped outside. And I made a call. 20 minutes later, a black limousine pulled into the driveway. My driver stepped out in a crisp uniform. Good evening, Ms. Johnson. The entire room froze. Benjamin stared at me in disbelief as I opened a leather portfolio and handed him the deed. I own Rosewood, I said quietly. And tonight's wedding? I paid for it. Through the glass, I watched Diane's face drain of color. When I walked back inside, I stood before her calmly. You told me I didn't belong. You judged me based on appearances. What you didn't know is that everything around you belongs to me. Then I gave her a choice. Apologize, or leave my property. For the first time, Diane had nothing to say. She apologized. The rest of the evening passed quietly, but everything had changed. 3 months later, Diane and I aren't close, but she respects me. Benjamin and I communicate more honestly than ever. And I've never regretted standing up for myself. Because sometimes, people force your hand. And sometimes, showing your strength is the only way to claim your dignity. True class isn't about money. It's about character.